been procrastinating a long time. Here we go.
From San Francisco, California, here comes Leon.
Thank you. Really? Click. Just came back from the oral surgeon and he said everything looks fine. I can move on in life. I have a few more years to live. How did I get here? We'll start me returning in 2020 from Europe. I was in Europe because in 2017, I was informed that my brother has been diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. I've heard what ALS is. I have seen the commercials of the Ice Bucket Challenge, but I didn't really know. I didn't really know how it feels to have someone you know, nevertheless your own brother, being diagnosed with ALS. Okay. Well, I had to do what I had to do. At that time, I worked for a company that owned a lot of real estate in the city of San Francisco and around counties, that I have worked with them for well over 3 decades. As a dependent, and I had a contractor's license. Let's get back to what really matters. I owned a house, I owned a couple of cars, I had a good life. I did well. No complaints. So I sold my house, I quit my job, I sold everything I've had, I put all my belongings in a container, and I shipped it to Europe. Obviously, I cannot say countries, places, names. There are reasons. Everything has a reason. One thing I must say, I'm not even exaggerating. I'm understating a lot of things how it took place. And I don't have a script. I don't need one. I know what I did. And I know what happened to me. I was there. So I got there. The signals started advancing. The slurring of the speech, the twitching of the muscles. Not a good time. But it was what it was. His life didn't last that long, just about 3 years, and he passed away. In 2020, I returned back to the United States in the middle of the pandemic. After all, whatever family obligations, and there wasn't an obligation, it was a duty. I had to do that. But as a result, that I may come across sour when I talk of what took place about my brother, or look somewhat disappointed, or something bothering me about it. But it's true, something is bothering me about it. I have no problem. I have no issue. I did it because I wanted to take care of whatever was necessary to be taken care of. But what I have a problem with was with my family. They took me for a ride, all of them, every single one of them. They make sure I drain my resources before they even touch theirs. Even if I was not very fond of her, was his partner, that lady who he lived with for quite a few years. I have to say she contributed and she helped. I have to say that. Even if I was not very fond of her, she was helpful for him. And that will come. It wasn't about me, it was about him and the quality of his daily life. I can't say more details than that. It was not exactly the days where you could easily speak what took place or happened. What happened. You couldn't speak easily with what was happening every day. Every day was very different than the day before. And the day after, nothing to do with the day before. But my family chose not only not to contribute, but also demand to give more and more of my resources until I exhausted them all. And when I needed their help, they all closed their doors. All of them closed their doors. You can choose your friends, but not your family. It was Wise who thought and said that. He had gone through what I went through. It was not a joke, it was real life. Again, my queen bee came to the rescue. Through her resources, I was able to arrange my way back. It was taking place. All of this was happening in the middle of the pandemic. I better put my glasses on before I close this video. How about that? Now you know the rest of the story. To be continued. When I came back, I no longer had my own house. I no longer had vehicle. I no longer had a lot of things. And because it was in the middle of the pandemic, I went there with a container and I came back with a crate. 10% of all my belongings. My art, my furniture, my belongings, only 10%. A very small amount survived and came back with me. I still have. But in 2020, I came back, and like I said, in the middle of the pandemic, and tried to start a new life. The 25th of June, I went surf fishing on Baker Beach, walking distance. I can walk to Baker Beach anytime. It's like 15 minutes at the most from here. Foggy, like usual. Other fishermen were there as well. I went there about 7 o'clock or so, a little after 7, with my new fishing rod, my new jigs that I made last night. This guy was using a few days back, and he was catching one perch after the other. So I bought the very same thing as he had made. I'm new to surf fishing. Mostly I did boat fishing. But I no longer have access to a boat, and I live next to Baker Beach, so why not? There I go. Like usually, I caught nothing, but everybody left and right, they did great. I was fishing for perch, and the fellow to my left, not too far away, I could clearly see, very nice guy, very nice person. I've seen him before. He has been fishing with anchovies, and he caught a monster striper, this size. I'm not exaggerating. I wish that I have caught that one. Anyways, enough of that. In the 80s, I lived next to Golden Gate Park, around between 9th and 10th. You know where the entry for the Golden Gate is, on Lincoln. I lived on 10th. A nice place, a nice Victorian. Got lucky. Yeah, I'm on there late 70s. So the owner was a trip. He was a nice guy. He helped everybody, and all young people at the time needed help. He liked helping artists, not just like me, but singers, anything that had to do with art, he was there to help. And again, I cannot say a lot about what he did or not, but I can say, because he has passed away some time ago, so early 2000s, in his 80s, he was an ex-probation officer. Yes, he was a former probation officer, but he was the nicest person. To say my last goodbyes to him when he died. So anyways, enough of that too. I got back from Massachusetts to California in 2020 in July, and I found the direct flight, and finally I landed on SFO. And I was taken here, where I live today, and I'm very thankful to her. This is the nicest lady you will ever meet. And I'm glad I've met her back then, and I'm glad I kept my friendship with her all these years. I will talk more about this lady. Not right now. I'm going to speak about my queen bee. I'm going to talk about my queen bee. How I met my queen bee. Right away, we became very good friends, very fast, and we still are. She always supported me, and now, again, we occupy the same space, back together, as friends, nothing more than that, as best friends. That talks a lot, that tells a lot, a lot. When I came back from Massachusetts, and landed in San Francisco, I had to take care of a lot of business. First one, I had to take care of my eyes. I had cataracts on both eyes. Really, I had bad cataracts on both eyes. In the middle of a pandemic, I tested negative in all COVID tests. I was able to have surgeries on both eyes and whatever follow-up necessary. It was another procedure in the surgery room again. All the procedures were 4 altogether. And the result of that, I have 20/20 vision far away. And obviously, I have to have reading glasses for close-ups. I have to have close-ups. I have to have reading glasses. I don't know how good the video has been, but I hope it is good because I'm going to use it. But yes, for about 6 months, she took care of me, because I had to go through the process of the cataracts. Make sure she took me for all my doctor's appointments, surgeries, procedures, everything. I don't need to say anymore. You can assume the rest, what kind of character this person has. I think that's enough for now. She has been instrumental helping me with all aspects of my life, especially my artistic side of me. She always believed in me. She always believed in me. She was the person who purchased my first painting I ever sold. In private collections in Washington State, Oregon, here in California, in various places, Washington D.C., and New England. There are various pieces of mine in New England. But like I said earlier, given what took place and I had to come back during the pandemic, I lost a lot of my belongings. I hope someone takes care of them or makes good use of them. But we'll talk about it later, not right now. I'm veering off too much. I don't want to veer off. I don't know what point I'm going to make, but all these years, all these decades, why was after? Well, in the beginning, I was an artist. Whoever asked me, what are you doing? What's your living? I'm an artist. And I did all labor jobs, whatever I could do, whatever work I could do to support my art, to support my painting, my studio, my rent, my car, anything I needed to. But my lifestyle wasn't to create a family or buy a house or buy stocks or anything like that. The only thing I care is going fishing and painting. A couple other things too. I will show you some of my past. The place that I lived. And some of them I have pictures from, some of them I have not. Some of them deliberately, they were destroyed, or lost, or stolen, or who knows, or forgotten. And the 13, 14 years I was a homeowner, 2003 to 2017, I was a homeowner. They were the worst ever years of my life. I worked a lot just to pay the bills, just to pay the mortgage, the insurance, and everything else. It was never ending. I no longer had time for myself. Never had time to do anything I wanted to do. It was a nightmare. I worked for a piece of property, which, after I remodeled, fixed up, spent sweat and tears and hundreds of hours. In the end, in 2017, well, at least I had that. I sold it, and all the profit, about I can't say how much, but it was a nice job. I was able to take care of my brother. I was able to take care of all his needs at a time. Okay, I arrived in Logan Airport, Massachusetts, where I was picked up by my lady friend and her friend, and we drove to Maine, where I stayed with her and someone else's, let's say, farmhouse, ranch, whatever you call it, in Maine, close to a lake. I am not very familiar with Maine, but anyways, we went kayaking one day in the lake next to this property. The gentleman who owned the house, he had a herd of sheep-on, a chicken coop, couple of dozen chickens. I weighed eggs from that place every morning. I cut the grass from a tractor, and mowed the grass in like 4 or 5 acres. It was a very different experience. And at night, the fireflies. I've never been in Maine in the summer. Never been. I've been in Massachusetts in summer, but not in Maine. Very similar, but different. And again, forget all of this stuff. Let's get to the point. A week in, 10 days in of my stay there, the lady friend and her friend decided to go kayaking, canoeing, kayaking, whatever you want to call it. So we did. We went to the lake. We canoe kayak all the way in a small island in the middle of the lake. And on the way back, another motorboat passed by and made a wave that I wasn't paying attention, which created a wave which unfortunately got me into the water. I wasn't paying too much attention. But that's not the point. The point is I realized that I couldn't get back on the canoe kayak right away. I had no experience. It was my very first time. So I was in the water, and they saw me, the lady friend and her friend, they noticed that something had happened to me. So they tried to come to my assistance. They were not exactly next to me. I sank in the water 4 or 5 times. I don't remember which time it was. The last time I no longer had any energy. I had zero energy to go to surface again. There were so many times I wasn't prepared for something like that. It was a very strange experience. Thinking back or talking about it, for sure it was a strange experience. But let me check the cameras. I would like to say thank you again to the person who saved my life in that incident in Maine. He dove next to me and saved my life. I don't remember, I don't know. Obviously, I was in shock that day. It was not exactly the best of... It was definitely not my best day, nor I could think clearly that day after that, whatever you want to call it. I don't remember if I thanked him properly or not. I don't. But I'm sure I must have some kind of thank you. I'm sure I did. I don't know, but I am thanking you again and again and again. I'm very glad for everything that has taken place and has brought me here right now. I'm the happiest I've ever been. The happiest. My life is so simple. I have enough. I have food. I have one room in a place, in a nice location in the city of San Francisco, close to Baker Beach. And The person I live with, I have met in 1987. We have been friends since then, and more than ever now. We enjoy each other's company, and we don't have a lot, but we're comfortable. I moved into her place, yes. This has been my home since 2020. I have 2020 vision to see far. My life has been very simple. Walking on the street makes me very happy. I don't need to have an expensive car or this or that. None of that. It's not important anymore. What is important? To do what I like doing. And that, it is being creative. On building on California Street, 3580. Also made friends with the doctors who occupied the building. One of them was Dr. Stephen Lee. And I like him a lot. I painted his office. He listed a space and he wanted to a specific way. So that's what I did. Diagnosed me that I have rosacea, a light form of rosacea. So he described me cortisone of some sort forward, or I found someone else. His name is Dr. Ernest Lee. So today it was my appointment. He examined me. He said, "You're definitely going to die. There's no question about that in my mind." And he asked me how much money I have and all of the things and about my girlfriend. And after a while I said, "How about 6 weeks at the most?" She described me more cortisone and he said, "You look great." And I had something like here that he froze. Remember, I am 67 years old. I'm 67, so I get weird stuff on my face. So he froze something here. Feels funny, but within a day or two it should be gone, or be redder. I am not sure. It's the first time. So I removed my last wisdom tooth, number 17. I did that the 16th, I believe, if I remember correctly. Feels great. And again, let's move on to the next thing. So my medical issues have been solved. So I have more time to worry about other things in life. The time after the incident, all the people who happened to know of me just about to drown, or my drowning, or the description of that day's events, whoever knew of them, after that, their demeanor was completely changed. Some of them, had questions like, "How was the water today? Nice water, huh?" Not all of them, but some of them did. Some of them, but not all of them. And again, I have to clarify that. Not all of them, but some did. I did not know what to say or not to say. It was very uncomfortable being there from that point onwards. I have to emphasize and say this again. Thank you. Thank you. I am thankful for the people who were involved of helping me. Whatever word would you like to use, save me, help me, the incident. I felt so uncomfortable after that. I don't know if it was in my mind or their demeanor or behavior. I am not sure. But I'm not here to discuss what they did or didn't, or should or shouldn't, or what I should have or did not. None of this stuff. That doesn't really matter. It's over. It has been quite a few years since that day. I remember it, of course. It was part of Of course I remember it. How can I forget something like this? But that day, how I looked at things changed dramatically. I didn't realize that right away, but today I am seeing the difference of how I look at things. I would like to buy a vehicle again, and a four-wheel drive maybe, so I can go back camping like I used to. I missed my Toyota Land Cruiser. It was a Toyota Land Cruiser BJ42LX diesel. Canada, and I purchased it. I bought it here in California. It was a great vehicle. I loved it. It took me anywhere and everywhere, no trouble at all. Always came through. Then I sold it to buy a brand new Toyota Tacoma. Macho man. It was nowhere near as good as my old 1982 Land Cruiser that had 453,000 miles on it. It was awesome. Enough of that. Always San Francisco was my home. Even when I was in Europe, I wanted to be here in San Francisco. Well, 4th of July is coming now, and the Blue Angels are practicing. That was the Blue Angel. We're going to have 250 years of this country. I'm so happy to be here to celebrate. I'm so happy to be part of this place. I'm so happy to be in San Francisco. I'm sure I'll figure it out and make a point. But this is the happiest times of my life. And here I am in my room, which is a very messy room compared to the rest of the flat. I'm going to put it together one of these days. I think I've had enough. I had enough of this. It's long been forgotten. But there's one single thing that drove me to the chair I am today. There's one single thing. And that is looking for something I had no idea what it was. But I knew I didn't have it. It was an idea in the beginning. It was a way of life. I have no idea what it was. But I knew where I was. It was not the area to be. It was not the city to be. It was not the country to be. I traveled well prior of me coming here to the United States. I traveled well. I had been already in several countries, European countries and Asian countries, and but it was nothing. It was okay, so what? Like traveling vacation, not an adventure vacation. They were not that kind. Too many people. You couldn't be by yourself. It was different idea was driving those environments, the people occupying the environment, and the people who were around me. I was a misfit for a lot of them. I couldn't relate with what was going on, what should be real, not real, what's life, not life. What they were after was not exactly what I didn't even know what they were talking about. I think that was the core idea. And then I came here. After high school, I came here. Yeah, I came to the United States after I had finished high school. I landed in Logan Airport, Boston, Massachusetts, late 70s. I spent about nine months to a year, give and take, in Massachusetts, New England, and New York, for that matter. And New York, yeah. And New Jersey, don't forget New Jersey. And then I said, I did not like. I didn't like the weather. I didn't like the people around me. Too many people like me from where I was coming from, telling me, don't dress this way, don't speak this way, don't look this way, you should get married, have kids, have a job, blah, blah, blah. All of the stuff they wanted. It was important to them. They were not wrong. They were not wrong. Those things were important to them, not me. Even though I did not, even myself, I did not know what was important at that time to me. I had no idea what was important. I was still looking for it, and it took me, I don't know if I have found it yet, what I'm looking for, but I do have a better definition today than I had back then. What I kind of like to the state of mind I like to be, where I will be very comfortable with myself, where the thinking, the balance on thinking, everything around. And given what took place and what was happening, so after a year, give and take, back in New England, the East Coast, we'll call it the East Coast, one morning I woke up and I said, enough is enough, I am going west. And that's what I did. Yes, I hitchhiked cross country. I took the decision to hitchhike cross country. It took me 6 months. Greyhound buses? Yeah, Greyhound buses, some portions where hitchhiking was not legal. There were states I went through, hitchhiking was not legal. One of them was Pennsylvania. I remember that. The Keystone State, it was not legal to hitchhike in Pennsylvania, at least at that time when I did it. But most of states was no problem. And I arrived west in the state of California, the city of San Francisco, late 70s. 6 months after hitchhiking cross country, here I was. I felt so comfortable here. The first couple of months or so, give and take, I don't remember exactly, but it was more than 2 or 3 weeks, that's for sure. I went up and down the coast, slept on the beaches, Santa Cruz, Half Moon Bay, Capitola, and Montara, and a few others I don't remember. And then through some connections I have made, through some friends I have made, I met the person who owned the house on 10th Avenue next to the Golden Gate Park. Let me check the video.